Hey eBay friends, it's Suzanne A. Wells. Thanks for coming back for another video. And in today's video, I'm going to give you 10 tips for preventing returns on eBay. But before I get started, I want to thank my friend Victoria of Winnie's Little Shop who sent me this beautiful necklace. This is her eBay store, Winnie's Little Shop. I'll put a link to that below. Thank you so much, Victoria. I really love it. It's so pretty. Thank you. Okay, so into today's video, 10 ways to prevent returns on eBay. The first one is to provide a long return period, 30 days or longer, for two reasons. First of all, eBay says you will get a boost in search if you have a 30-day return policy on your item. They want sellers who are conscientious sellers, who go the extra mile to serve their customers, and who do things in a customer-friendly way. And offering 30-day returns is, in their minds, one of these things you can do. So if you're not offering 30-day returns, if you've got 14 days on there, go to your bulk editor. You can change all that to 30 days very quickly, and that will give you a boost in search based on what eBay has told us. If you have no return policy, that's really hurting you. There's no way to measure how many sales you've lost because a customer saw that and doesn't want to buy from you, or because you didn't even get viewed because your item was too low in search with no return policy. Also, if you look at the major retailers, Walmart, Target, Macy's, they have 45 to 90-day return policies. And one of the reasons is there's no sense of urgency. If somebody knows they only have a week to return something, they're going to be more likely to get on it and return it. If there's a longer return policy, and even Kohl's has 1 year. If you buy something on your Kohl's credit card, you have 1 year to return it. So this is, something where we want to follow what the big retailers are doing and give good service like they do. Some sellers out there say, well, I'm not Walmart, I'm not Target. Well, right, but you're competing against them. So you've got to be as good or better than they are to get the sale. You've got all your competitors on eBay as well as competing against retailers. So you've got to do everything you can to place higher in search and offer better customer service than your competitors. Okay, so number 2 is to offer complete information about your product. I see descriptions all the time with like nothing in there, or very little information about the product. If you don't know what to say, then go to a major retailer's website, Target, Kohl's, LL Bean, any of these big retailers, and see how they write it. They have million-dollar, multi-million-dollar advertising budgets. They know what they're doing online. They know how to write descriptions. So you can just use that information to your benefit. Do what they're doing. And just because you have checked off the item specifics and you have the information in your title doesn't mean that's a complete description. The search engine, Cassini, also looks at the description area. So you've got to do all three things: title, item specifics, and the description box where you actually type in the information. So anticipate what your customers might ask. And as you do this more and longer years, you'll see that you'll know what to put in there because you'll be asked the same questions all the time. So you want to prevent the buyer from having to ask you anything, because that takes time for them to message you and wait for you to answer. And some buyers aren't going to do that. They're just going to move on to the next listing that has the complete information because they want to buy it right now. They don't want to wait to see if you're going to answer or if your answer is going to be satisfactory. So think about and anticipate what a buyer might ask. What's it made of? What are the measurements? Where was it made? How old is it? What does it feel like? Things like that will help sell your item. You don't want to go crazy here, but you do want to provide concise and succinct information about the product that's going to help the buyer determine if it's the right item for them. Don't leave it blank. Okay, the third thing is to make sure the item works. If it's an electronic or something with multiple parts, Be familiar with your product. I learned this the hard way when I sold a camera for someone on consignment. And she assured me that it worked, it had all the parts, everything was fine. And I sold it, shipped it to the buyer, and they said the such and such thing was missing. Well, I don't know all about cameras. I wouldn't know if they were lying or not. So if you're selling things like on consignment, or musical instruments, or electronics, or even kitchen appliances, small appliances, make sure it works. Some sellers will even put tested in their title to show that they've tested the product and it works properly. So it needs to have all the parts, and if it doesn't, then you need to disclaim that in your listing. It's missing the such and such part, so the buyer will know. That's the key here, is informing the buyer so they know what they're buying. Just because it's missing something or defective or damaged does not mean they won't buy it. You just have to be truthful up front and explain to them what they're getting. Okay, so number 4 goes back to that. Make sure all parts are included. This is important for toys, because toys have a lot of different parts, baby items. Jigsaw puzzles, no, you don't have to count all the pieces. You can put that in your listing. I have not counted all the pieces. You don't know if they're all there. Some people don't care. A lot of these jigsaw puzzles are used in like nursing homes or for occupational therapy, just for someone to work the puzzle, and they don't even care if all the pieces are there. So, use common sense on that. But do your research. If it's an item with multiple parts, or a toy, or some kind of gadget or a tool, make sure all the parts are there. If they're not, disclaim that. Okay, number 5 is an easy one. Avoid high return items. Things like designer handbags that people just want to carry around for a little while, then they send it back and go get another one. Formal wear that may just be for one event. Items like that where or like cell phone cases is another one. People will use those for a couple of weeks and then send it back and switch to another one. So avoid those kinds of items that are high return items. And the 3 that I can think of are designer handbags, formal wear, and cell phone cases. Okay, number 6, put measurements on your clothing. I have an entire video about that, so click on that up there and watch that video. Measurements are very important. I won't go into all that again. Just check out my video on that. Number 7, pack it well. Make sure it's not going to break. You don't want your customer to receive a broken item. It may be not broken enough to where it may just be cracked or something, and they want to return it. And either you're going to get a return, or you're going to have to reimburse them for their money and have a broken item that you cannot resell. So do your due diligence on packing. There are thousands of videos on YouTube about how to pack just about any kind of item. All you have to do is search for it. Double boxing is great. Have the right materials. The rule of thumb is when you pack something breakable and shake the box, you shouldn't hear anything. So if it shakes, it's going to break. But you can study all those videos on YouTube about how to package certain items. And my advice is watch that video before you list it. Make sure you know how you're going to ship it before you even list the item. You don't want to sell it and be scrambling at the last minute and not have the right materials and not know what to do and be under all this pressure to have to package this item and get it out. Figure it out before you list it. Okay, number 8 goes along with that. Include insurance. When you print your shipping labels through eBay, you get $50 of insurance on your item through priority mail. So you already get that. If your item is worth more, then you need to buy extra insurance. Some people pass this cost on to the buyer. Others just absorb that cost as a cost of doing business and price the item a little bit higher. You can put the insurance and like packaging costs in your handling fee, but a lot of buyers don't want to see that. So I feel it's better just to roll it into the item cost. If it's something like a set of dishes that's going to take a lot of packing material, and you're going to put insurance on it, add that to the cost of the item rather than as a handling fee. Okay, number 9, and this is the sort of controversial one, but you can charge a restocking fee. Some sellers feel that by charging up to a 20% restocking fee, that's going to discourage returns. And this is a big controversy about if it's right or if it's not right. Retail stores don't charge a restocking fee, so we shouldn't. We can have that conversation below in the comments if you feel strongly about a restocking fee one way or the other. But that is something you can do as a deterrent to returns. So let's have that discussion because there will be differing opinions on that. And finally, number 10, and the most important one, is sell things that people want to keep. Think about, if it's a collectible or it's a hard to find item, or if it's clothing that's a certain size, focus on things that people want to keep. Pay attention to what you're getting returned and don't sell those items anymore. If you're following all these steps and you're doing everything right and for some reason you're still getting returns, it's not you, it may be the nature of the item. So that's one reason I stopped selling on Amazon, is I got so sick of all the returns. And you think you've made all this money and then you get the item back. Yes, you can resell it, but a high return rate indicates something is wrong with your business. Either you're not giving a good enough description, or it's the nature of the product you're selling. Something needs to change if you're getting a lot of returns. And I would say a lot of returns means even if you're selling 20 items a month and you're getting one back, that's too many. For years, I sold hundreds of items a month and didn't get any returns because I learned how to refine my business and sell things that didn't get returned, such as shoes in wide or narrow widths. Those are hard to find. Plus size clothing. Bathing suits never get returned. And so I refined my business in a way where I didn't have to deal with that. And I stopped selling on Amazon. That was one of the reasons, was the high, the returns, because their policy says that anything can be returned. I think it's within 60 days now. But, after Christmas, look out January, you get all these returns on stuff. And I just don't see that happening with used clothing and collectibles and interesting decorative items. People want to keep this stuff. So think about that. Things that people don't want to return, sell things people want to keep. So I hope these 10 tips have helped you. Love your comments below on any of these issues if you've experienced them. And again, check out my mastermind group. This is the kind of thing we focus on to help you build a better business and build a business you love, that you love doing every day, selling the things that you like to work with. Thanks for watching. Have a great day on eBay. Bye.